Yeah. I knew that as an overall skier, Adame, I'm sure is thinking the same. But overall, we really consistent. And the way we slalom, I don't know how other slalom skier doing it, but the way I practice slalom is no matter what I'm going, no matter who is driving, no matter the condition, no matter what the boat is, I need to run 39, no matter what. And then that's how I start doing more and more pro tournaments because I was like, well, I have some shot at 41. I can be really close. So I know I'm running my 39 everywhere I'm going and almost every round. So that's how I got really interested on slalom skiing.
Hello, and welcome back or welcome to the Waterski Podcast. This is Matteo, your host, and the goal of this podcast is to promote water skiing. Great sport, a lot of fun, behind the boat. Sometimes it's buoys, ramps, nice tricks, bunch of other stuff actually, which I'm hoping to cover a little bit more in the next few episodes. But anyway, that sport behind the boat that we all love. And we promote it here. So what a great episode to promote water ski stoke, this one. For episode 65, I had a chance to interview Thibaut Dailland. Now, Thibaut is one of the forces to be reckoned with, not only in overall skiing, but as it's happening more and more often in water skiing nowadays, in any of the three events he participates in. For those of you that have followed or are more used to follow slalom skiing, you'll recognize the name as that guy who is there, 2, 3, 41, always a threat, bunch of finals. Thibaut is, no, hands down, one of the best skiers in the world. And you can tell that the motivation to become one of the best in the world was at his core from an early age. Living, 9 months out of the year in the Ivory Coast and then moving to France for tournament season. That's how he grew up. And then eventually continued to ski for France and moved to the US for college and continued to ski at a very high level. And now what I love is that he shares his passion and training with his younger brother. They're basically, as he says, training partners. Now, before we get into the episode, I want you to know that this episode of the Waterski Podcast is brought to you by Real Frequency College Consulting. So if you're a parent of a collegiate-bound water skier, this is an exciting and stressful time. It's common to become overwhelmed with the admission process, college research, deadlines, essays, and picking the perfect college ski cup clutcher. Let's face it, they're all pretty awesome, but it's still a choice. And are you and your student making the best decisions to increase success and mitigate risk? Real Frequency College Consulting is with you every step of the way. With weekly contact and face-to-face consultation, Real Frequency ensures your student is held accountable, so you don't have to. Real Frequency offers comprehensive college reports on over 6,400 institutions and extensive info for NCWSA affiliated schools. Real Frequency is there for career path guidance, the connector of internship, and career research. As a result, your student graduates on time with a career so they can afford to pull you skiing in their boats sooner. Real Frequency also offers financial planning from a college economic specialist and access to your very own admission essay specialist. And there is so much more. I can't really recommend enough this service. I truly wish, particularly as an international student, that I had a better idea of what it was to apply to college in the US. This seems to be the service to get some help with it. Even if you are, US resident, you get some help with essay production and what school really fits you. I think this is a great service. So let Real Frequency take on the stress of admissions so you can enjoy the course. you can go to realfrequency.com. That's REAL frequency.com, or you can call 509-992-2888 and schedule your free consultation. Real Frequency. The stress isn't worth it, but a college consultant is. So the way you can get your little Water Ski Podcast perk is that you can mention TWSP or Matteo is the man, and apparently you get to receive 6% off for 6 to 12 months benefit, right? So 6% off, like the buoys. Again, realfrequency.com, or you can call 509-992-2888. Now, I'm so stoked to share this episode with Thibaut. He's someone that I've been wanting to put in front of a microphone for a while. As it is currently, this happened via FaceTime recording. So we were, on the usual 6-hour difference, but it came out natural, spontaneous, and Thibaut is just a pleasure to be around and talk to. Just a very energetic guy with a lot of passion, and I'm sure you won't struggle to hear that through this interview. So I'll stop blabbering and I'll let you enjoy my conversation with Thibaut Dailland. Enjoy. Thibaut, my man, welcome to the Water Ski Podcast, buddy.
Hi, Matteo. Thank you. Thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure. I'm really happy to be on this podcast with you. Thank you.
I'm happy to have you. Where are we communicating from? Where are you at right now?
So I'm in Clermont. This is where I live during the year. This is where I work. I live at Swiss Water Ski Resort.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nice place to be.
A very nice place. I won't complain.
Yeah, you shouldn't. Have you been skiing?
Yeah, on and off, trying to. There's World this year, so I try to get more serious into the training.
Yeah. It's funny how, and we'll definitely get there, but it's funny how we measure years according to world's years, and especially if you're an overall skier, you measure years by world's years,
Yes, I agree.
Normal.
Normal.
But hey, you were telling me off the record you've been listening to this, so you know what question is coming to you first. So here we are. How did you get into skiing?
So I get in water ski mostly because of my parents. My mom was a water skier. She was doing it as a hobby on weekends with her family. And my dad was not a water skier. He was a surfer for fun. And when my mom and my dad started to date, my mom didn't really like surfing, big waves, sharks. So she made my dad into water ski. She said, hey, you should try to water ski. It's on the water. It's not similar than surfing, but it's a pretty cool sport. And my dad fell in love for the sport, starting skiing more and more. And just to give you a little background, I was born and raised in Ivory Coast.
Yeah.
So Ivory Coast, it's warm during the whole year. It's 40 degrees Celsius. It's 80 degree Fahrenheit. And during the whole year. And my dad, water ski was his weekend activities. And when I born, they already had a mastercraft. So every weekend, my dad was taking me to water ski. And that's how I ended up skiing more and more. And then in Ivory Coast, we have Tanguy Bennett and Emmerich Bennett that were the champ.
Massive names.
Were massive names. They were really well known in the country. And my dad was going to school with Tanguy. They were in the same school.
Oh, like
so
like school?
Yeah,
like,
high school.
No
high
way.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So they were pretty good friends, very good friends. And so when I was starting skiing, and then I started skiing with Tanguy Bennett. He became my coach when I was 10 years old, around 10. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. You had a very solid coaching start, man.
Yeah. I was lucky. I was very lucky.
And so, what was it for you? Like, did you have the same stoke that dad and mom have, or was it just something fun to do? Like, what was your early days like in skiing?
So I was. It's hard to explain. I was very passionate about the sport. I just wanted to do it every weekend. I was going to school during the week, and the only thing I was waiting for so bad is to go ski on the weekend. And my dad was getting out of work on Saturday after lunch. So from Saturday after lunch to Sunday, he was skiing with me. We were skiing with his friends. And we had, it was a good setup because, I mean, we were doing it in Africa. It's not like Florida where you have all the man-made lake and I mean, we have a lot of water, but we don't have man-made lake to ski.
Yeah.
So we were jumping in a boat, driving the boat for like 25 minutes, getting to the slalom course. We had a little camp in the middle of the jungle, and we start skiing in the middle of nowhere with no one. And I love doing it. And I was slaloming at the beginning, then I start tricking until the age of 10, until I decided to go to France and get better.
Oh, okay. So was your move to France like because of skiing?
Yeah, so I never lived in France really. I was moving to France because I joined the French Federation.
Uh-huh.
Because I'm like I said, born and raised in Ivory Coast. I have the passport, but I also have a French passport, and we don't have a water ski federation in Ivory Coast. So I joined the French Federation, and I was flying to France to do the season, June, July, August.
Yep.
It was my school holiday, my summer holiday. So I was right away flying to France and skiing there.
Yeah.
Competing and training.
Yeah, yeah. Got it. So when you said that Tanguy started coaching you, was he coaching you in the Ivory Coast, in France, both?
So sometimes in Ivory Coast, but Tanguy by the time was coaching all around the world, and
Yeah.
he had his own group of people. So when I was in Ivory Coast, my parents were sending me to different parts of the world to ski with Tanguy. And Tanguy always accepted me. Tanguy is like my second dad at the time. And he took care of me everywhere I was going. So I was also lucky to be skiing with one of the best athletes in the industry, and at such a young age. So when Tanguy was in Florida, I was flying from Ivory Coast to Florida, ski 2 weeks with him. And I was skiing with Matteo, Marina Mosti, Angeliki Andriopoulou, Marco Riva, Damien Akerer. I was with them, and I was not that good. I was young, I was starting to be in the sport, and I was skiing already with the best. So Tanguy, he was not my coach for the whole year, but I was at least traveling 2 to 3 times a year somewhere in the world to be with him and ski with him.
Yeah, got it. And excuse me. So the rest of the time you would be like skiing with your dad, or
skiing with my dad most of the time, and then June, July, August, my parents were sending me to France with my ski, my clothes, and I was staying in Orthez, which is a ski school in the southwest of France, and I was spending 3 months there, and I was waking up, skiing all day long, sleeping, eating, and skiing.
Yeah.
And it was like this for 3 months, because until I was really 14, in Ivory Coast I could only slalom and trick with not really coaching.
Yeah.
And then moving to France, I had a bit of coaching, and I could start jumping and get into tournaments. So I really had 3 months out of the year to really compete and improve, I would say.
Yeah. And was that aspect, because you said, you couldn't wait for the weekend back home to go ski.
Yes.
But what about the competitive aspect? Was that something you were thirsty for, or?
Oh, I was really thirsty for, yes. I couldn't wait. So that's why I was waiting so much for the weekends, because I needed to practice. Already at a young age, I wanted to be at the top of the sport. So I knew that it was a long road, so I was just pushing and training already at the young age.
Yeah, that's cool.
So
That's cool. Because for some
yeah,
people it kicks in later, but it sounded that for you was pretty clear right away, you know?
yes, yes. No, me was clear since day one
That's
already. I
good.
say
That's good.
I want to be yes,
And
yes,
I'm assuming that being surrounded by people like Marco Riva, Matteo Ianni, Marina Mosti, like you get inspired pretty quickly.
oh yes, yes. I mean, like I say, I was surrounded by the best athlete of the sport at that time. So
Yeah.
I was really lucky. I was respecting them, looking at the way they were skiing. They were getting ready. I learned
So
a lot from it.
I want to ask you something about Tanguy because, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but my impression, and I mean, actually, I know for a fact that Tanguy over the years has been able to take some athletes and make them freaking champs, right?
Yes,
Um,
yes,
I I know maybe recently I started to work with younger junior skiers, but I would say around the time that you skied with him, he was mainly coaching, high level, almost or already adult skiers. So I'm curious to hear how was it, as a kid skiing with Tanguy, how was he as a coach?
it was great. Uh, th- what I was lucky is that I was the only one that he would have taken me and be part of a group of such professional athletes. Tanguy, when you ski with him, he always say, "You the youngest, you start skiing first."
Yeah,
You know for how many years I was skiing first?
I bet.
Until I was probably 22, 23. Well, even when I was skiing with the Miranda, I was the first one skiing.
Yeah, yeah,
He had,
Adrian.
or yes, he had no one after me really. So for all those years, I was almost the youngest skier that he had, and it was great because he was treating me like he's treating the pro. He's coaching me the same way, the same words, just the same way he's coaching. So from there, I just keep going and yeah, it was great. An amazing coach, amazing coach. I have few stories with him that I will never forget. He's very good.
Want to share a couple?
Yeah, U.S. Master Junior. So Tanguy took me to Mumbai Junior, U.S. Master Junior, and my parents were not coming. It's Tanguy and me. We were traveling, and then the Open was coming later.
Yeah.
So when we were all training at Swiss, the Open, I was driving with Tanguy 2 days earlier to compete, and the Open were driving 2 days later
Classic.
to ski.
Yeah, classic.
Classic. And then, so our goal was to win US Master in overall, and never happened. The 2 years I went, I was always messing up on one event, and I ended up being in the trick final, and I was against Adam Picos and Alexandre Poteau, and I was the first one on the dock, ready to go. The boat is going up and down, and Tanguy, out of nowhere, I mean, we're sleeping in the same room. He could have talked to me the night before. Out of nowhere, came to me and say, "Hey, worst case scenario, you third." I say, "Yes." And he says, "Those guys are better than you." I say, "Yes." Yes.
Damn.
And he says, "Why don't you throw the biggest run and the biggest trick you have?" I was like, "What?" I said, "Oh, we never practiced that." He said, "Who cares? You third, right?" And he started jumping in the boat. And I was like, it was my turn to go. So I do my toe pass, didn't fall. And I get in the boat and he give me my hand trick. And I look at him, I say, "You sure?" I go. He say, "Man, go big." I was like, okay. I say, "All right, I'm going to go big." And I went and did big. So I did a mob front to front at the time when I was in junior. I was doing mob. I mean, it was my biggest run I had to do. And back in the years, you couldn't get your score right away. Like you were getting your score almost 20 minutes after the event was
Yeah, over. Yeah.
over. So I don't know if it works or if Adam look at me skiing or Alex skiing, but the way I've done my run was a 10,000 point run.
Wow.
But the problem is I did that run in 25 seconds.
Right.
So when I look, Alex went after me, fell in the middle of the run. Adam went, fell in the middle of his toe pass. And I ended up winning with 8,800 points. But at the end, I won US Master, and thanks to Tanguy. Was he played on other people? I don't know. I've done what he told me to do at the last minute, and I ended up winning. That's Tanguy
That's such a
style.
cool story.
You never know. You never know.
Yeah, because probably, I mean, how many variables there, right? Like, well, first of all, Tanguy apparently pretty comfortable at Callaway Gardens, because for him to say as the boat is coming back, hey, just go big, man, go big, throw everything you have, and then
He,
you
yes, he,
doing all your tricks in 25 seconds probably, and then watching those tricks and go, oh man, I need to bow up and falling. I mean, this is this is a cool story. And so you won junior masters in tricks.
I won Junior Master in trick, and my goal was really to winning in overall. That was my goal, my main goal. So yeah. It was a cool story with Tanguy, but that's the way Tanguy coach.
Yeah,
That's the way he is. So I'm thankful for that. If I wouldn't done it, I would probably not win. Who knows? Who knows?
and and Tanguy obviously is very famous for being way more than just like a technical guy coach, like that, but obviously you started skiing with him young, so he gave you a lot of technical aspects. Is there, like, you want to share maybe like a key or two that he's big on that really shape your skiing?
Uh, Tanguy is good to make you have belief in yourself,
Yeah,
trust in yourself, trust the process, and that everything's going to be fine. That's his strength in his coaching. No matter what's going on, if you're skiing bad 2 days before the tournament, 3 days, he's showing you that he believes that you're going to do good, and he tells you that you're going to do good. So on the mental aspect, he's awesome. Technique wise, he's very good coach as well, but me was mostly in my head.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, because obviously when you're in your juniors, you're really starting to shape up the skier you are.
Yes.
So because I only had one experience with Tanguy for 2 weeks, and I gotta say I went in with the wrong approach because I was hoping to get some technical, like revelation, and pretty much early on, like, he was like, hey, you're not gonna get it in 2 weeks. There's just no way. But it was I
Yeah.
enjoyed my 2 weeks like mad. It was great. But I was curious, maybe like, did he teach you certain tricks, or maybe something about slalom that he gave you that you still use? I don't know, like something along those lines.
Well, technique wise, it changed so much. Skis changed so much.
Yeah.
I was young. For me, it was mostly the way I was approaching my training and the way I was approaching tournaments and how I was mentally prepared. I would say was really. I'm a skier. Most of the people tells me that the way I ski is I'm talented, so I learned very quickly. So technique wise, you tell me something, I picked it up, I feel it, and I always do
Can
it.
get it.
I don't know. It taught me a lot of tricks. I mean, I was skiing with him. I was 10 years old,
Right.
but
Right.
he taught me also how to ski hard from Monday to Friday, and how to party hard from Friday to Sunday.
Yep.
So he was a good coach by telling you, okay, skiing is very important, but life is important. You also need to enjoy, and he was taking me everywhere, and it was pretty cool, really cool to ski with him.
Yeah.
Really cool.
So let's backtrack a little bit, because we went from 10 to winning junior masters.
Yes.
So I'm assuming, obviously you did some Europeans, some stuff like that with
Yes.
the junior Europeans. Did you enjoy the Europeans, like, as a junior?
Oh, loved it, loved it. To be able to compare myself with international skiers and where I was standing was a big deal for me. I really wanted to see where I was standing and if I was on the road and the path of being the best in the sport.
Yeah.
So I know they step by step, and the way for me was to be at least top 5 in every category until I get to open, and probably get the chance to one day become a world champ. So European was the thing that I was waiting during the whole year. But again, until I was probably 17, 20, I was not skiing much because I was skiing a lot in Ivory Coast until I was 14, and then we got a civil war, and then we had to leave the country, emergency situation. So we ended up to France for 8 months with my mom and my 2 other brothers, and my dad had to stay home for business purpose, and we never lived in France. Like, I born and raised in Ivory Coast until the age of 14. I've never experienced winter. I don't know what it is to wake up, it's dark, go to school, come back home, it's dark, and it's 0 degree outside. I have never experienced that in my life. So it was a big, not shock, but I mean, a different lifestyle. And we did 8 months, and my mom is also born and raised in Ivory Coast. My dad, same. There was no way for us to go back. My mom didn't want us to experience such a bad situation again, and she didn't want to stay in France. So we ended up moving to Mauritius Island, and that's where my mom and my dad did their honeymoon, and that was one of her dream to live on an island. And having us doing all those water sport activity, she knew that this place was going to be the playground for us, and that we were going to be happy there.
Right.
Because Ivory Coast was a special lifestyle. It was very dangerous. It was a bit like, not, I wouldn't say jail, but I was going to school and back home. My only freedom was weekend to water ski. I was not allowed to sleep at a friend's house. I was not really allowed to go and play soccer in the street. It's dangerous. So moving to Mauritius was the total freedom. Could sleep at friends. We live on the beach. So I wake up every morning. When I moved there, I was 15. I could go surf, kite surf, water ski. I could do all those water sport activities. And then, but I couldn't slalom anymore. Mm-hmm. The only thing that I could do was tricking. So my slalom skiing dropped basically a lot from doing it every weekend during the year, and all of a sudden only tricking and slaloming for 3 months out of the year and jumping 3 months out become really hard. But I was able to keep all my level and getting better and better. And again, I was traveling and to meet Tanguy and ski with him 2 to 3 times a year to at least slalom and jump.
Yeah. How did you manage? Because I mean, that was like a huge lack of training, or at least consistency of training throughout the year. How did you manage to not only keep the same, but to improve? That's the crazy part.
You know, I don't go to the gym, or now I do go, but at a younger age, I was not going to the gym, but I was doing a lot of water sport activity, like windsurfing, kite surfing, surfing, and I was learning different feelings, I was understanding other sport, I was still in shape, and it helped me in my skiing career, I strongly believe.
Yeah.
So doing other activities helped me learn more about how to ride the slalom ski and how to ride my jumpers and how to get better with different approach from other sports, I would say.
No, I can see that, because it's funny how that works. Like, in a way, it doesn't really work that, say, you surf with the intention of, I'm going to do this on my surfboard because then in slalom or in trick. It's not how it works. But then you just keep doing it anyway, and definitely you transfer some balance, some accuracy, some reaction, And no, I can totally see that. And I mean, hey, much better to surf than going to the gym,
Yes,
I mean,
way better.
Way better. I mean, I understand it's something we have to do, but like, being in a room with mirrors as opposed to in the ocean surfing, it's a different experience.
Yeah, definitely. It's not comparable.
No, not at all. So when was because I mean, it sounded like already in the junior years, you were getting some success. When was there a moment in the juniors where you went like, whoa, that was good? Something that, I mean, clearly the junior masters, where you had that quick having to change the run.
Yes, yes. I would say, yeah, junior Mumbai and junior US Master were my highlight being in junior. I never did a Worlds in junior. For some reason, the federation, I wasn't in the team, and I was number two or three on the world rankings in overall, and I wasn't part of the team. It was a big drama. So under 17, yeah, Mumbai, and I won Mumbai in trick and won US Master in trick, and that was my highlight. And I remember Zach Warren was probably number one in overall, and I was second in junior.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it sounded that overall was like the constant from the start, right?
Yes.
When was that first overall sort of win or placement? That now I don't want to say it came unexpected, but you were like, wow, like this is good overall placement.
Was my first European Open podium. Was in Recetto. Adam won, and Herman Beliacu was second, and I was third. And I was starting to be in Open. I don't remember the year, but as soon as I placed third, I said, man, I got my shot. A few years, I can be first. If I'm third, I can be first. And yeah, until 2013, when I won my first European title, for me was a dream come true. The only French people that had this title was Jean-Michel Jamin and Patrice Martin. It was Pierre Carmen that won slalom, trick, and jump, not in the same tournament, on different European champ. He was European champ, slalom, trick, but there was never European champ in overall. Never. So it was a dream come true, because after European comes Worlds. So, like I say, I proceed step by step. So I was really, really pumped to win that first, like the others title as well. I had different win. I won 4 times European, and it was 4 times a different win that I really appreciate. So it was awesome.
That's cool. And obviously, nothing to take away from, let's say, the Pan Am region or Australia. I mean, Australia obviously has produced a lot of great overall skiers, but Europe seems to still be that sort of like pool of overall skiing,
Yes.
So the Europeans have a big importance.
Yes. And like I say, I strongly believe that if you want to be a world champ, you need to also be a European champ. It's a process. It's a step-by-step process to get there.
Yeah. And especially in overall, because nowadays, apart from tournaments in which you go with the team, like there's no overall events, really.
No. It's a bit sad, but there is no overall events.
Yeah.
So
not. Let me ask you this, because I mean, as you probably recall from a distant past, I used to fumble in overall skiing too, but for me it was always like slalom was my best, and then trick and jump at alternate years was sort of chase, right? Whereas I know that you being a true overall skier, you have moments, like where slalom maybe is overtaking, then now this year tricks is really where it's at, and then jump. Like, is that the process, or?
Oh yes, it was. Yeah, it was. This process was. Some years I could trick awesome, and other years my slalom was really, really bad, and I was trying to survive for the season.
Right.
I was probably on the wrong ski. I had the wrong technique, but the thing is, like, I cannot really focus on slalom. Like, I have to trick and jump too. So it's not like I can tell myself, I need to slalom for 2 weeks and figure out what's going on. No. And I had a short amount of time. So for the 3 months during the year, so I had to try to keep moving forward. So yes, during the years and depending the seasons, I had the event. Some of the events were stronger than the others. I just basically tried to survive on on the one that was not doing really well at the moment.
And that would be in terms of performances, right? So wow, my slalom
In
is
term,
kind
in
of
term,
peak.
yes,
But I
yes,
guess
exactly.
the other side of it might, which I'm curious to hear, is passion. Like, did you have
Yes.
seasons or moments where you were like, damn, trick, I really want to trick, or slalom, or
No, I was doing all three, all
all three?
three, all three every day, all three every day, and yes,
True overall
like
skier, man.
like yes, like when I was flying to meet Tanguy or going to France, I'm going with my three event bags,
Yeah.
and I'm going to do all three. Will I do all three? Probably not, but at least I have them and I can do it. So if I have to focus on slalom, then I'll obviously do more slalom set than jump sets to get better for next year. Like I always set up my goals depending on what happened with the previous season.
Ah, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. So, what is where like because let's jump to today, right? So looking back to the last season or the last two seasons in preparation for Worlds, um, where are you currently focusing on, or like what is it that you feel you need to refine a little bit in preparation for October?
So right now, like my life really changed. Really changed. Didn't really change, but I have also other goals. I just start working. I really love what I'm doing, and everything I do, I want to do it good, and I want to be the best of what I'm doing and starting to do. Uh, I'm 30 years old. I love the sport. Um, I've done probably 5 worlds, so it's 10 years of skiing, trying to achieve become a world champ. And well, at the end, financially, it's a sport that doesn't take you anywhere.
Yeah.
So I'm still deciding. Obviously, worlds are 12 minutes away from my house, so I'm gonna ski. I'm gonna do it. Will I do overall? I don't know. Will I do only slalom and trick? This for sure. I will do them because I love slalom and trick. I'm kind of talented, so I pick up right away. I can get back in trick very good. But will I be willing to put the effort to do a third event that will take me usually, if you want to rush an overall practice, rush. It takes 4 to 5 hours to your day if you
Yeah.
want to rush and do your 3 sets. And I'm working. So it's really depends. I would say it's how I feel. If I feel motivated, you know what? I'll go for it. If I keep working and love doing what I'm doing and I'm stepping back a little bit and wants to have fun in slalom and trick, well, that's the way it's going to be. It's
Yeah.
we'll see. I'm
Yep.
going with the feeling and with the flow of what I want to do and how I feel.
Look, sometimes the best decisions we make it with our stomach, not with our head, you know. So
Exactly.
probably it's going to be the case this time.
Yes.
Speaking of slalom, I mean, in recent years, dude, you have been a huge force to be reckoned with on the slalom course.
Yeah, I try to. I really try to. And I'm more a tricker than a slalom skier. Like I define myself more a tricker. Slalom, I was struggling for a few years to get there, really. And I started focusing a lot on slalom just because it was more slalom events. And I love the sports. I live in Florida. I can ski all year round. And so I say, why not focus really on slalom and try to compete against the best slalom skier in the world?
Well,
So
that's
that's how
crazy to me, though, because, I mean, hey, I'm the first one to say good job, but that's a very uncharacteristic overall skier thought, you know? Like if you, I mean, you know that if you talk to an overall skier, they will tell you, oh, there's that slalom event, but it's only slalom, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
Something clicked for you, like, okay, I'm gonna slalom now. Like, I'm gonna take this.
yeah. But you know, with the passion of the sport, even when I was probably 17, 18, 17. I was 17 years old. I went with Sacha Desquin. We both went to Eurolac, and that was my first pro tournament,
Yep.
slalom pro tournament. I remember at that time you ran 39 and you were one of the big guys too. You were like on a roll, like you were skiing really good. So I went there and I was not that good in slalom. I was barely running 38, and I could do 2 at 39. That would be my personal best. But for the passion and being surrounded by the best and the greatest of the sport, I will go no matter what. I
Yeah.
will, good or not good, I wanted to feel that experience. And I know that I'm learning out of it. I'm learning a lot. So I went, I skied my best, and I sit, watch, and learn. And try to hopefully in the future be there.
Yeah.
So I've been doing slalom, doing watching, following, and try to participate in pro slalom tournament already when at a young age
Yeah.
until I really really focus moving to US.
And honestly, I mean, we're only 2 years apart, man. Like, the Alizé Cup, like, if that tournament didn't inspire you to chase buoys, I mean,
Yeah,
so good, so
yeah,
good.
so good, so good. It was the best slalom event almost in Europe,
Oh, for
where we
sure.
could get all the American people, the big star coming over and skiing. That in Europe, that was awesome.
Yeah, you
Awesome.
really had all the European skiers, like every single one of them, and almost all the big shots from
Yes.
US. And
Yeah.
you would always have that, that day of half a thunderstorm or
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
would go. So there was always variables you had to adjust, and there were, like, I remember the line of bibs, like, to get on the little dock. I mean, name after name after name
Name
after
after
name,
name. Yeah, yeah, it was crazy.
and then
It was
head-to-head
awesome.
final at night. Wow, no, that was a great event. And I mean, I've said it before, but definitely for our event, that was one of my big inspirations. Like the head-to-head final. That
Yeah.
was super cool event.
No, it was awesome. So I was getting into. I was willing to do. If it was a trade pro tour, I would have joined it. If it was, it used to be a jump pro tour. Pro tour. I mean, it was many jump events in Europe. What 5 6 years ago. But I would have. If I'm motivated, I will do it. I will do all those pro tours and try to compete with basically the best of each event, just to be there and try also to show that I'm also the best in that event. I'm not just an overall. I can be good
Yeah.
in all three. So that was my goal, and I felt like I had to do it. Like I feel like I'm probably not the best, but I belong there. I have a shot, so I always go and have fun.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think that's a big prerequisite. Like, if you feel that you deserve to be there, and you earned your spot to try and do your best, that's almost like you have to have that to be able to compete.
Yeah, yeah,
Because I think that whole, like, fish out of water works the first or second pro event, maybe, where you're like, let's see how it goes.
yeah. Yes,
Let's
yes.
throw a big run. Yeah, maybe you're lucky one time, and then your ears go down, and you go back to square one.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but yeah, I mean, you've had those early experiences, but it goes without saying that you went from max, as you said, to a 39 to someone who started running 39 and then started running 39 very consistently and got a little shot at 3 ball at 41. I mean,
yeah.
that's truly competitive.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I knew that as an overall skier, Adame, I'm sure he's thinking the same. But overall, we really consistent, and the way we slalom, I don't know how other slalom skier doing it, but the way I practice slalom is no matter where I'm going, no matter who is driving, no matter the condition, no matter what the boat is, I need to run 39, no matter what.
Yeah.
And then that's how I start doing more and more pro tournaments because I was like, well, I have some shot at 41. I can be really close. So I know I'm running my 39 everywhere I'm going, and almost every round. So that's how I got really interested on slalom skiing. But now this year the level is getting higher and higher. Like 2 at 41 becomes almost not making the final. You don't make the final with 2 at 41. And 3-4 years ago, yeah, that was kind of the shot to be in.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still a big score. You still have a chance, but if everyone skis well, it's not the score to have.
No, and I can, because, like I have listeners of all levels. It's hard to explain the difference in level between a 2F41 cut and a 3F41 cut.
Like, yes, it's a different game.
It's a different game. Like,
yeah,
12
it's
people,
different game. Yeah.
But that's what the sport is going, for sure. And then more and more people are getting out of 3. So, there used to be a time where 3F41 might win you an event. Now, very, very tough to win with 3F41.
Yes, very tough. Very tough.
And yet we're here, still chasing buoys, still, wanting it.
Still loving it. I'm still planning to do all those Slalom Pro tournament, Swiss Pro, like 38. I'm going to try to do the US Master qualification. I mean, I just love it. I want to be part. If I'm in, I'm in. If I'm not in, well, it's not the end of the world, but I'm still having fun and I feel like doing it. If I feel like, I just go for it.
Now, look, speaking of slalom, but also about overall, I wanted to ask you this because I'm thinking of the years where we were kids and we were growing up, right? And you had, Jarrett, Jimmy. There was this staple of overall skier, which seemed to be, either huge jumper, great tricker, slalom, whatever happens, or huge tricker, great jumper, slalom, whatever happens. Like, I think Marco Riva was like one of the few ones with a great slalom.
Yes. Marco was an average on all 3. So
exactly.
So he does all 3 average, and he could be the best compared to other. But Adam was the one that really changed the way of approaching overall. Mm-hmm. He's a good slalom skier. He's a good tricker, and his jump, he was good, but he got even better. So he pushed to the limit, being a real, I would say. I mean, not that the other ones are not real, but there was such a big gap of difference between a big jump and a slalom score. And Adam was able to be almost, if we had top 10 on all 3 in the world.
Yeah.
So that's how he pushed it. And that's also what I was going to go for.
Yeah.
If he was not there, is to be the best the top 10 or 3 event, to be one of the best overall skier.
Yeah, because I think that's, maybe the other category which wasn't as common, but you had a few, was like really solid slalom trick, jump, let's see what happens, right? And now,
that's kind of me.
well, but like now it's all 3 have to be at a really high level. Like I'm thinking Adam, Pipe, you, Coleman. I mean, these peeps show at any pro event of any discipline, and they are having a shot, to do very well.
Oh yeah. Now, our days, all the overall skier, Adam, Martin, Joel, Robert, Louis, my brother Tanguy, all those guys can run 39. Yeah. Now in October, I'm expecting all of them to run 39 for right. Sure. Like,
that has to be down.
Yes, that has to be down, definitely. Dorian, I was not going to forget Dorian, but yeah, all those overall skiers are becoming. I mean, running 39 it's big deal, huh? For an overall skier. I always say if you run 39, yes, you belong to a pro slalom tournament.
Full on.
So like if you run 39, no matter who you are in the world, like don't be shy. Get your entry fee to the tournament.
Go and try.
You go and try it. It's you never know. Go and try.
No, it's I mean, it's shocking the level that he's getting at, you know? I mean,
Yes,
really,
yes.
really high.
Really, really high. Really high.
All right, everyone. I hope you're enjoying this interview. This is where Thibaut and I took a little break. I'm going to use this break to give you a couple of like techish sort of updates. The first one is, if you have that friend who's resistant to, download a podcast app and listen to some podcasts, you can tell them to go to their website, to their web browser, and go to listen.thewaterskipodcast.com. And that will bring them to a page with all players from Spotify, and they can listen to the Waterski podcast from that page. I know some people are not really into this whole podcast game, so that would be an easy way to spread the word with your, not super tech savvy friend about the Waterski podcast. The second sort of techish thing is that there's a new way to support and donate to the Waterski podcast, which was highly suggested and was encouraged by one of the former guests, Matteo, who told me to start accepting cryptocurrency. So if you have some crypto that you want to donate, you can go to thewaterskipodcast.com/support, and you'll find all the info there. And yes, I do accept Dogecoin. And if you don't know what Dogecoin is, you have fun on Google. And then the third thing, which is a little bit of a milestone, last month, for the first time since I opened the Waterski podcast, I reached about 2,000 people, which is pretty nice. That's not downloads or listens. That's like individual devices that listened to the Waterski podcast. So unless all my listeners are listening to the podcast on 10 different devices, then it's a pretty sizable amount of people that are listening to this. And it's humbling, it's exciting. Man, that tells me that there's some stock about water skiing out there, and I'm going to continue fuel that for sure. So, yep, that's it for the break. Back to the interview. Look, Thibaut, yes, you saw tournaments, you started to get passionate about slalom, but you're freaking really good slalom skier. And something happened to where you started running 39 often. Now, was there a breakthrough in equipment? Was it just I'm an overall skier, so when I start doing something, then I do it all the way? Like, what was the change in your slalom? Because your slalom didn't grow linearly. I'm sorry, like you started going like this, and then there was a pip, like a little big growth.
Yeah. I would say my slalom got way better when I started skiing more and more at Swiss. I was more and more at Swiss, and I was hanging a lot with the Starabauer family. I was with Vince and Clint, and so I was going to school, and every weekend I was driving at Swiss, spending a weekend with Vince, and Vince wanted to get better driving. He always wanted to be a driver tournament and drive even worlds. So the only good skier he had was me. So he said, well, man, ski, I drive. I said, all right. And the Starabauer family, they're really slalom oriented.
Yep.
So I just started to slalom just more frequently in such a perfect condition, surrounded by them that love so much slalom, that I learned a lot, and I improved my slalom skiing a lot too. So being around them, being skiing with them for my last probably 4 years at Swiss definitely helped my slalom skiing a lot. Yeah.
So it kind of like you sort of started, well, it's cool obviously that you got a skier who's planning on winning worlds, and you got a driver who's aiming at driving a world championship. So it sounds like the stoke was high.
Yeah. I was trusting Vince, and I knew he was in the process of driving, And me, I had my process. I was saying I need to run 39, or I need to get to that point with no matter who driver I have.
Right.
And then we start pretty much, I would say, working together. He, at the end of the set or between passes, Vince was asking me, "Hey, how do you feel?" So, "Oh, I feel like that. Do this, do that." I mean, and again, it's not because I feel good that other skiers gonna feel good, but at least I know that I had a good driving, a tournament driving, and I could practice like a good tournament. It was a good tournament training facility with a good driver, a good lake, perfect condition.
Yeah.
And then I would say, 3 to 4 years. And you know, when Clint was jumping in the boat, I mean, it's not that I was not allowed to do 2 times 13 or 32 off. It was 13 and right away 35, and then 35, 38, 38, 39. And sometimes I was saying to Clint, wait, I'm going to do a second one. He said, why? Slalom is made to shorten the rope. And I said, yeah, you're right. So, boom. 41. So I would say I was practicing more and more short line, and that's how I got better. But it took me, 2 years approximately to run 39, to understand how to run it. 2 years, 2 seasons to understand it.
Yeah.
I'm left foot forward. I was doing 4 all the time. So, yeah.
The 2-4 curse, right?
Yes. Yeah.
No, yeah. I mean, I can see how, honestly, if you don't enjoy slalom a little bit more after hanging out with the Stadelbauers, then there's something wrong with you, not with the Stadelbauers. Because these peeps, like, slalom skiing from breakfast to dinner, non-stop.
Non-stop.
Yeah.
Non-stop, yeah. But he really helped me. I learned a lot. And I always wanted to become a good slalom skier, because slalom is really... It's really the event in water ski. I love tricking. I could trick all day long. I would love to have a trick tournament. But we have such a lot of people doing slalom, that's slalom ski. So they understand how hard it is to run, 35, 38, or 39.
Yeah.
So more and more people following that. We have way less tricker and way less jumper. So when you trick 11, 8, or 12, a guy that doesn't trick will tell you, okay, that's a pretty big score, congrats, but he doesn't know what it takes to get there.
3 years to change the run, to get those 80 points in.
To be in time, to make it happen, because sometimes you don't make it happen. You do so much tournament to make it happen. And jump is same thing. So slalom is the real event. And I was like, I want to be one of the best skier overall, but I think I need to be one of the best slalom too. I want people to know I'm good enough to be part of those guys and compete with those guys.
Yeah, and it's nice for people to understand the challenging thing you're going through, right? Because out of 100 skiers in the world, 99 are slalom skiers. Out of 1,000 skiers in the more, and on and on and on. So it's cool to, you get on shore and someone tells you, hey, that was a sick gate, man. So they know what's going on,
They know what's going on. They know what's going on. Yeah.
Now, I would say, and this is probably my personal experience, particularly in recent 2 years, but as you know, in slalom, equipment is a huge thing. You can avoid it, you can, sorry, don't get it in offense, but like you can be the overall skier that says, they give me a ski and I'll ski. But slalom, when you get to a certain level, the equipment is important. Was it with the Stadelbauers that you started to maybe, think more about your equipment, or was it kind of your own journey?
No, it was mostly with the Stadelbauer. It was mostly with them. That I tried different things with Vince also. Like we were both hanging out together every weekend. Sometimes we were bored, so we were trying things actually.
Right.
And Vince, they are such a culture and know so much about the sport and the history of the sport that I learned. And with Vince, we even try things that they were doing back in the years. Like I put my wing down, and then we make more holes in the fin, and we did different things. I've just to have fun and try. But I learned a lot actually. He taught me what was the consequences of doing those changements. So.
Yeah.
And then I learned out about skis. Yes, they were definitely a big aspect on this part.
Yeah. And it sounded like you enjoyed that because, you know, like with equipment, each his own journey, right? And one thing, you can think about it as much as you want, but eventually you have to try the thing. You know, you have to put it on and you have to go and try it, and you have to try to think whether your idea was good or not. But from the way you explained it, it sounds like you enjoyed that part too.
Yes, I enjoyed it. I loved it. I really wanted to see what it could be really bad as it could be really good. Would I run more boosts? Probably not. Probably yes. But if I could be more consistent, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
That would be awesome. But I remember one day, we made a wing with Vince that we made it smaller. We put it on a different spot of the fin, on the bottom of the fin. Did the first set. I did 4 at 41, and Vince driving. Huh?
Oh, wow.
So we look, and we were skiing like the last 2 years together. I've never done 4 at 41. And when Vince drive, you know it's straight. It was 4 at 41, and we look at each other and say, "Hey, that works, huh?" Yeah. And then try another ski, try to do the same. But it doesn't work. And here comes the problems, the issue with all the equipment, and why it works with that ski and why not on that one. And
Right.
oh yeah, it's
the equipment spiral, right?
equipment spiral. But you know, when you're an overall skier and you have other events, you try to keep it simple.
Yeah.
Get your ski, set it up right, and ski your best.
Yeah.
If you're a slalom skier, yes, you can spend as much time as you want playing with it. I will totally understand it. Overall skier, the less you get into this issue, the better.
No, I feel you. And yet, you know, you're obviously Connolly Ski sponsored athlete. You guys just came out with a ski where you even added another variable. How has that been? Have you been trying different tails?
So I've been trying different tails. It's pretty amazing what they've done. I like the way they innovating. They're the first one doing that. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. It really affect when I tried the different tail. It really changed the end of the turn. That's how I felt.
Yeah.
Well, the way I felt it, I didn't have more speed or more stability, but I have way more. Depending of the tail, I had more direction at the end of the turns. My turns were all different with the 3 different tails.
Interesting. So, as you would go back to the handle, that's where you felt the most difference?
Yes, that's where I felt where the tail is having a big impact at that part of the course, at the end of my turn. So some of the turn I was getting like a lot of direction, and changing another tail for the round one, and I had way less direction.
Uh-huh.
Again, it's I love to talk about slalom equipment, but again, that's how it feels for me.
Yeah.
It would probably not feel the same for you or for someone else.
No, for sure.
So it's really cool to have this type of product on the market.
It's a big change.
It's different. It's different.
I mean, I know that I've tried to change the shape of the tail on some of my skis, but that's a point of no return, man.
That's the thing. You need a new ski.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's a square tail ski. I'm gonna try to make it round tail. If it doesn't work, oopsie. It goes on the pile that becomes a bench.
Yeah.
No, I think it's a super cool idea. And so you guys make what, like a square tail, a round tail, and a sort of like in between?
Yes. So it goes all the time in between. So we have like a square round, then it goes really square, and it goes really round. So yeah.
And what are you like? Which one are you using right now? Which one feels the best for you?
So I stayed very long with the round one because I was getting a lot of at the end of the turn I was getting a lot of direction, so I could get to the other buoy earlier in the paths, and I liked it. I was early and a bit wider. I could feel my ski getting under the rope and swinging easily. The other square was not really working for me. And when they sent me the ski and the different tail, for me the round one was going to be the one that I was not going to ride. I was like, there's no way I'm going to ride the round.
Right.
And Boris Laval told me, hey, you need to try all of them. I said, yeah, I was going to get to that point. He said, go right away to the round one. And it was the best. So I kept skiing on it, and it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Again, slalom skier, Boris, try everything, man. Tried it all.
Yeah, you have to go. You have to try all of them. And then after, I always say, I skied for a month with it. And then I think 2 weeks ago, he said, hey, go back on the original normal one. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, you have to go back. He didn't tell me why, but I went back to the original one.
It's sometimes, it's funny how sometimes you start going to the equipment spiral, and then eventually you have to do like a big change to get out of it, a big change. And then you sort of re-understand.
But to come back with the Starbauer, we tried. They were really the one guiding me to try other things, and I really appreciated that because, again, I'm an overall skier. I do slalom and trick, and I'm a bit like an African guy. Whatever really I take, I ride, and I was lucky enough to be around them, and they were telling me what would be good for me and to push me to try it. So I was really, really trying those things, and I learned a lot from it. A lot. I was changing my plate, my front plate on my reflex for a stiffer one. We tried fin setting, different fins, different wings, different skis. And if they weren't there and I wasn't around them, I would have probably still be on the same ski and
factory setting. Try to do
try to do my best and survive.
Sounds like they managed to open your mind about trying other things.
Yes.
Yeah,
correct.
That's cool. Look, I don't know how long ago, but like you sort of in passing said that you have two brothers.
Yes. Two brothers, yes.
Yeah, both. So Tanguy, obviously, we know skis.
Yeah, Tanguy skis. Tanguy skis did pretty awesome. I had a really good time with him last 2019 on the last European Championship. I won and he did second. So that was my family, him and me was a family goal. We were like really happy to have two brothers be on the top of the sport in Europe. Was something that I will never forget. He was one of my goals, and I'm awesome we made it happen. He almost won, so that was even closer. Until Saturday night, until my slalom final on Sunday, he was in the lead. Lead. So we were sharing the same room, we roommates, but that night we never really talked together, like not at all.
Hey, good night, buddy. See you tomorrow.
Yeah. Like usually I coach you, we coach each other, but now that's it, man.
You're on your own.
You're on your own. I'm on my own. I want to win it. I want to win it. He wants to win it. Let's do it. So that was pretty awesome to be standing on the podium next to my brother. So I really enjoyed it. My second brother starts skiing with me. He's 10 months and a half younger than me. We're also really close. And he started skiing. He's a really good skier, but he was not really competitive. He was more like, he's more chill. He doesn't like to just compete against other people. He's doing it for fun, and he runs 35 off 12 meter at 58.
Okay. So wow.
He's a good skier. He's more into surfing, than skiing. But yeah, but he comes. He went to Malaysia for Worlds to support us. He's
Okay.
following us. He follows the sport. He knows most of the skiers.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, it's really cool. Really cool.
Now, what's the age difference between you and Tanguy? 5 years?
6 years.
6 years. Yeah, that's
Yes,
quite a
6
gap.
years. Yes.
So, did you guys like train together as you were growing up, or were you sort of like different places? Like, how did that work?
So I would say different places. When I left Mauritius, I was 18. Tanguy stayed in Mauritius without me, for 6 years, and then I was skiing with him only during summer in France in June, July, and August. Until really when he moved to the States, we really start skiing together, get better together,
Yeah,
and and try to compete together. Yeah, he's my training partner, almost my coach. I'm his coach.
that's cool.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
cool.
it's really cool. We go to the gym together, like we pushing each other, which is awesome, awesome.
Yeah, no, I mean, I can only imagine what you guys felt in at the Europeans, standing on the podium next to each other.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was, I would say, teamwork that we carried from the beginning of the year all the way to Malaysia, I would say. So because I don't have really a coach following me anymore, like Tanguy used to on international tournaments. So I'm glad Tanguy is there. I know he's skiing, he's focusing on his own skiing. I'm focusing on my own skiing. But when he goes bad, he knows what's going on. So he comes to me and say, "Hey, be careful of this, or relax, you're too nervous, everything's gonna be fine." He's around to tell me
Yeah.
how to feel better and handle it, and I do the same for him, and that's how we roll.
Yeah, that's cool. That's super cool. Super
Yeah.
cool. Now, to me, and going back to Vino as well, to me, one of the most epic ski videos of all time is the one where like the drone is following you, you slalom a Swiss, and then he switches to the other lake, and there's your brother throwing flips like mad.
Yes, it's awesome. It's pretty. Vince done a really good job on this. I mean, on all the videos he's done, of course, but it was pretty cool to have a shot with Tanguy skiing as the two brothers.
And one shot, that whole video is like what, 5-6 minutes long, and it's all one shot.
One shot, no stop. Vince came with the ID. He was a crew of. He knows the number better than me, but he was a crew almost 10 people. He crashed the drone when we tried the first day. It cost him like $2,000 or even more to replace it. But he got another drone the week after. We redone the shot. It was awesome. And this is what I also really enjoy with Vince, is that I was coming to ski, I was training hard, and Vince was really passionate about movies, and I was willing to help him do those movies.
Yeah.
So we were doing a really good teamwork. So when he was shooting, I mean, he knows that if I'm putting my ski, I'm going to ski. And if he tells me, "Hey, you have to do 30 passes," he knows that I'm going to tell him, "Okay, I do 30 passes." And that's what one day happened. We were doing like 30 to 40 passes without stopping. And it was awesome. Every video turns out pretty great, pretty awesome.
Yeah.
He did a really good job. I was just there to ski.
Yeah,
I just ride, ski, and the rest he's handling it.
Yeah,
So,
well, when I
we
interviewed him, when I
did a
interviewed
lot
him, he gave you a lot of more credit than that. You said, like Thibaut was always there. When I needed someone to shoot, he was the first one in line.
And you know what? When he was doing something crazy dangerous, I was there. And I was like, I'm going to do it. Once he built a wall of mirror to do a shoot. I mean, and this was like 3-4 meters from the buoy turn. I mean, you don't want to crash in that wall of mirror. You'll not die, but close to. But we've done crazy things. Before the drone, back in the years, we went to the airport that is close to Swiss, and we went the same day and asked if we could shoot from the plane, because it was no drone at those years. And Vince jumped in the plane, and I was skiing, and we start shooting, and the plane was literally like a meter higher than I was. The guy was no, we were living on the edge. That was sketchy. Like if the engine of the airplane shut down in the middle of the course, those guys are in the water or in the trees at Swiss.
Yeah.
It was, yeah, but it was awesome shot. It was a good time, really good time.
Yeah, and
we had a good connection doing those things. We were both really. I was looking for this, and he was looking. I was looking to make movies and have fun and promote the sport the best we could. And he was willing to shoot, and he was passionate about doing it. So he was a good team, really good team. Awesome.
Yeah, and look what he turned, things into. Like, I mean, I don't know about you, but I thought what those guys did last year for the webcast is the best water skiing I've ever been able to watch. Unbelievable, unbelievable.
It's awesome. Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome. It's really great job.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I want to close out with one thing that I've noticed that a lot of skiers have noticed in recent. I would say in the last year or two. So there's always been the wakeboard trick skiing sort of like comparison, and wakeboard obviously be more of a freestyle sport, go big, look cool, whereas when I explain trick skiing to someone who's not a water skier, I always say it's a little bit of like our gymnastics. Like it takes that dedication, the run has to be on time, you practice the run. And then, I don't know, younger trick skiers, COVID, whatever it was, now if you watch social media trick skiing, it's always like some weird combo of tricks that don't exist, people just having fun. And I gotta admit to you, you are the first one that came to mind, because I remember you doing it throughout your whole career, flip without a wake, or, huge railing. Yeah. What do you think about this whole phenomenon?
I think it's really awesome. It's really awesome because it involves a lot of creativity from, like we see on social media, Joel Poland, Nicola, they're doing awesome, like awesome contents by creativity riding a trick ski, and they're promoting it, and people love it, and it's great. What they're doing is great. It's you don't see that every day. When you go to a trick tournament, you always pretty much see the same runs. The one that wins is going to do kind of the same tricks. One's going to be probably faster and have a trick, an additional trick in his 20 seconds, is going to win. But the tricks are all the same, like not all the same, but close to be all the same.
Yeah.
So when you look at another video with different trick that doesn't exist and different, it's pretty cool, and people loves it. People wants to see creativity and new things, and those guys are pushing the limit. Back, like you said, I'm still doing the same. When I trick, I always do a trick without the wake for fun. But I don't really promote it, and wrong on my side. I should push it a little more. People would love it and follow it a bit more. It would be better for the sport as well. But I'm happy to see the younger generation doing it. It's awesome.
Cool.
And they all skiing really well, which is awesome. They again pushing the limit, pushing the level of our sports, and they're making it famous. More and more views. So that's great.
Because that's the other thing. Like, they're not just doing videos and that's it. Like, they go out and trick 10.5 or 11K, and they're proper trick skiers,
Yes,
so I find it super cool that the kid watches it and like, oh man, I want to be like him because he looks cool, and then finds out a little bit more about tricking and tricks more.
I'm glad they're promoting it too, because I coach water ski on the side for fun, and I have a lot of kids that only knows how to do their run, and I'm asking them, hey, can you do a double wake grab and land on the back? And they're like, no. And I say, you cannot do that, and you can do a flip? Yes. That's not normal. Like,
right.
Man, you need to have fun. You're on a trick ski. Trick ski, I know you want to do it competitively, but you need to have fun. It's made to have fun.
Yeah.
You cannot just do your run and go home.
Right.
That's not how it works. You
Right.
have to play around, or if not, you don't like it. You don't like it, and you think that you only have to do runs. Now you need to be able to play around, and that's great that they're pushing it that way, and to just push more people to have fun on their tree ski. They don't have to do their runs. It happened to me sometimes that I jump on my tree ski and I still do trick that I haven't done for 5 years that I want to do it again. I'm not going to put it on them on my run, but I want to see if I'm able to still do it. Have a good feeling and have fun doing it.
To me, I know you obviously know them, but to me, the two kings of that were the Lambriger brothers. You know, remember them? Like they were just,
those
the
guys,
rowdiest.
Yes, they were not good in toes, but very good in hands. Those guys were flipping everywhere, and that was awesome. The Lambriger, I remember them really well.
They would have probably created, if social media was around in those days, they would have created that thing, you know?
Exactly. Yeah, they would have been famous for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah,
and I think obviously, you know what, during the first wave of coronavirus, when Greg did, the Greg that head-to-head massive bracket of like 10-second trick skiing, that was so cool.
Yeah, it's really cool because it pushes you to be creative. Like at one point I did my first video, I did cool stuff, but I was stuck and I was like, oh my God, I made all the way to the semi-final. What else I'm gonna do?
Right.
I mean, I'm limited. I've done a big run and to go for the next step, and I don't know what to do at the end. And I end up even riding a foil on my tree ski to try to make it different. But people liked it, you know. They want to see something different. They want to see something that you're able to do different than other people.
Yeah.
Which is great, and it's great what Greg done it. Did it because we wouldn't do it, and we have awesome people that can ride tree ski really well with creativity, and it was really nice to see all those people being creative and throwing those big tricks. I was impressed. It was really awesome.
Yeah, they were like...
We should be able to do it more without having a contest. Just one weekend, take your tree ski, you want to do something cool, video it, post it. It's going to be good for the sport. People are going to like it.
Fully agreed. Yeah. How far did you make it into that trick contest?
I made it to the final.
Oh, you went to the final?
Yes, I went to the final, and I mean, I didn't do a video for the final. I didn't. I sent Greg a video that I was in Mauritius on a drone because I was... It's not that I was busy at work, but I was busy at work, and I didn't really have time to really think about what I was going to do. Yeah. And then, you know what's the worst? Is you need to think about what you want to do, but you also have to make it happen.
Right.
So I was lucky to do it all the way to the final on my first try, on my first set. But then I'm sure other people took them more than a set to make it happen.
Yeah, those 10 seconds that ended up being the clip. And that tournament was going pretty fast. Like, you went bracket to bracket to bracket, so you had to add your video. Yeah. That's cool.
So, I think Natalia Kulieban won. Awesome. It was pretty good too.
And I remember seeing some of, like... I remember seeing some of her clips of tricks that maybe she doesn't even do in a round, but she was able to squeak them together for the video. And I mean, to me, it looked really good too.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was great contest.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, listen, you know, generally I leave a bit of room for my guests to thank anyone they want. So this is your shot, man. Give the shout outs you want.
Well, thanks to my family for all those years of support. Thanks to my coaches. Thanks for the people listening all the way to the end of this podcast. Thanks to everyone. Thanks to you. Thanks for making it happen. That's awesome what you're doing for the sport.
Thank you.
That's great. I'm always a big fan with people pushing it to promote it. Greg, the broadcast company, your podcast. That's awesome. That's really great.
Well, man, thank you, obviously, and keep it up. Keep it up, because
thanks.
you're definitely one of those guys that have been able to make water skiing look super freaking cool.
Thanks. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Keep pushing.
Thank you. I'll try.